No, you're not imagining things. There is music in this podcast now. I decided just to add theme music only because I had a friend message me and she told me that she doesn't know when the show ends sometimes, because before I would just stop talking and then I'd hit record and the episode just ends, and she'd be like, she told me that she would like lay there and just be like, is it over? Oh, it's over. So I'm like, you know what, I maybe should have some music instead of just, I just start talking and then I just stop talking. So that music you just heard, I actually made 2 years ago. I made 3 pieces of music for Digressor, and I chose one of the 3. That was my theme music for a while, and this was one of the 2 that I didn't choose. So yeah, I decided to use it here. Also, if the audio sounds better than it has in the past, that's because I'm using an actual microphone instead of my phone. I bought a new one. This actually isn't the first episode I've recorded with it. It's just the first one I'm posting with this new microphone. The first episode I recorded is my upcoming episode on Digressor. I actually re-recorded a bunch of episodes, so it's like, hey! Yeah, anyway, so now instead of just diving directly into the episode like I have been, I just spent first couple of minutes talking about something completely unrelated to today's topic. I am covering Frozen from 2013, directed by Jennifer Lee and Chris Buck, starring Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, Jonathan Groff, and Josh Gad. It was based on The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen. And if I had to explain to you what Frozen is, then I don't know why you're here. I don't know why you're listening to this podcast about movies if you've never heard of Frozen. Actually, there's several movies I've done that falls under that. If you've never heard of Psycho, so what do you mean you've never heard of Where the Sidewalk Ends? It's like the most famous movie ever. But yeah, so I told a couple friends tonight I was gonna do this one, and they were like, "Oh, that's a baby movie. It's for little kids." And I'm like, "Have you seen it?" So yeah, this movie, it has a reputation for being for babies because parents got tired of the song "Let It Go." And I think Disney did an oopsie by marketing. Okay, they marketed this towards kids, which it's a kids movie, so obviously they were going to market it towards kids. But all the marketing focused on Olaf and Sven, the reindeer. So when I saw it, I'm thinking, oh, it's about a snowman and a reindeer. I didn't realize what it was going to be about. It's actually kind of a serious movie. I mean, not like a serious movie, but like it's deeper than people give it credit for. And people are tired of seeing this movie. They're tired of hearing about it. It's everywhere. And because of that, how good this movie is actually flies over the radar, because like, oh, just let it go. And it's like do you want to build a snowman? I'm always drumming that. And that made a different noise than I was expecting, like bounce. So it sounded like more drumming than I actually did. But yeah, I hadn't seen this movie in years, and I actually kind of forgot a lot about this movie. And I know that there's a Broadway musical. And of course, Disney does everything. They have a bunch of they have a bunch of musicals. But like watching this, I mean, they literally got a Broadway star to star in it. Idina Menzel, like she was in Wicked. Like, she is a legend. And yeah, like, this movie was made for Broadway. Like, they knew what they were doing. Like, the first half hour is just almost nonstop songs. It goes from song to song to song. And I think in pretty much any other movie where that happens, it's annoying. But because of, like, who made this movie and, like, who's in it, it works. And, like, there's a few scenes in this movie where, like, when Anna and Elsa are in the ice castle and they're having a conversation and they're singing it, that's a Broadway musical thing. That's from a musical. That's something. I got annoyed at Les Mis for that. Like, I wasn't even into musicals when I saw Les Mis, and I was like, why are they singing this conversation? They could just speak this conversation. But now I've seen so many musicals, I'm like, oh, okay, I see why this makes sense. And watching this movie for the first time since going through all that, I'm watching it, I'm like, this movie was literally made to be a musical. And it's kind of like they had an idea for a story, like a really serious, intense story. And then Disney was like, hey, let's throw in some comic relief characters. And it kind of ruined the movie a little bit. I like Olaf. Olaf is a very good character. And a very positive character. No matter what happens, he's always positive. So, like, he's a good role model for kids. But it also kind of gets in the way of the story a little bit. When I told people years ago, the first time I saw this movie, my first thought upon seeing it was, this is a good movie in regards to, like, mental health. And people were like, yeah, parents getting annoyed with this movie, it ruins their mental health. Like, no. Think of it outside of that, the context of kids want to see this movie a million times a day. Just watch this movie in the context of you don't have kids, but you probably don't. Watch this movie and just pay attention to what's going on screen. Like, pay attention to the words in the songs, the words that are spoken, the actual story, what's going on. And I'm like, I'm watching this time and I'm thinking, how did Disney pull this off? How did Disney pull this off? Like, in the first few minutes, like, you have like the song "Do You Want to Build a Snowman?" It's a silly song that takes a dark turn halfway. Like, I was not expecting that, and I've seen this movie a bunch of times. I know this movie very well, but, like, you kind of forget certain things, and, like, yeah, like, by the end of the song, I was literally, like, shedding a few tears. I'm like, holy crap, like, I forgot this movie is like this. It's like, do you want to build like, it got dark. This movie gets dark. I mean, I'm not just talking about the parents dying. Like the separation, and, like, Anna, like, they kind of make fun of her, like, oh, she's a quirky character. Like, no, she has anxiety. She has, like, social anxieties. She was separated from people for so long. She has, like, low self-confidence, and she has so many issues that were caused by being isolated for her entire life. She and her sister were best friends up until that day. And then all of a sudden, she says it multiple times in the movie. Why do you shut me out? We were so close. Why did you shut me down? Why did you shut me out? And I think something that's really important is at the very beginning, if you haven't seen this movie, by the way, spoilers, this is going to be a spoiler review. The trolls tell the king, fear is the enemy. She can learn to control her powers. what's the first thing they do? They lock the kingdom down. They lock her in her room. They put her gloves on. Conceal, don't feel. Don't let them know. That's literally the opposite of what the troll told you to do. Fear is the enemy, and you made her grow up in fear. At her coronation, she has to take her gloves off for a couple of minutes, for less than a minute, to hold a couple of objects so they can swear. And I don't know the purpose of her having. I understand they were having, it's a ceremony that she has to hold a thing, but he was like, your gloves. And so she had to take her gloves off. I don't get that, but it kind of showed she's afraid to take her gloves off. And then she did. She's holding the ornament for a minute, and ice starts to form, and she's afraid. Fear is the enemy for her. And yeah, sure enough, as the troll says, it backfires. Anna kind of confronts her and is like, hey, why are you shutting me down? I don't want to live like this anymore. And Elsa's like, enough. And then she doesn't have it under control because she lived in fear. And then the movie happened. Sounds like pitch meeting. So why did that happen? So the movie could happen. But yeah, I do think this movie is adorable. I love one of the first things you hear Anna say, the sky's awake, so I am awake. That sounds like a kid. I love that. I was gonna say, it is believable because it's, it is a kid saying it. But kind of to emphasize what I was saying about, fear. Like the troll said, fear is the enemy. She can learn to control it. Whenever she takes the gloves off, during the Let It Go, people, again, because it's so popular and people are tired of hearing it, the message of the song gets lost in all the hate. And I get it. When the song first came out, when the movie first came out, I was kind of laughing too. Let it go. So I would go. My friends would be like, "Do you want to build a snowman?" And I'd be like, "Let it go." But if you again listen to the song, it's where she's finally kind of just embracing the powers. The song begins with her quoting her father, conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Well, now they know. Let it go. She takes off her gloves, she takes off the cape, and she's free. She literally says the words, I'm free. And once she kind of lets go of the fear, look what she's able to do. She built an ice castle. She built a flawless ice bridge. And that's just from a few minutes of letting go. Imagine had she grown up learning to control her powers, what she could have done in a lifetime of all that. So this movie, it could seriously be analyzed. I think it has. I don't know. I haven't actually looked it up. I'm pretty sure somebody out there has done a serious, somebody really qualified, maybe a therapist or somebody who's licensed and has a degree or something, can diagnose the characters. Especially Kristoff. He's funny. I like him. But he's talking for a reindeer. There has to be something that's not normal. But at the same time, the reindeer seems to understand and kind of go along with it. Because when he's singing, the reindeer are better than people. The Sven is doing the motions with his head. So I think he understands. Is Kristoff crazy? I don't know. Again, I'm not qualified to make that decision. So, I do love kind of this was the first time I ever noticed Disney kind of changing their direction, kind of picking fun of themselves. like with the like when Hans and Anna, they first meet, they sing the "Love Is an Open Door" song, and they get engaged. First time I saw that, I honestly didn't think anything of it. Like, not that I think that's normal, but it's a Disney movie. I'm thinking, oh, okay, we're doing this. And then when Elsa was like, you can't marry a guy you just met today. And I'm like, oh, whoa, Disney, you're calling yourself that here. And then even Kristoff is like, he keeps interrupting Anna, like, what? No, whoa. You got engaged? Like, yes, listen. But another thing I noticed that they did, and it's not a subtle thing, that's kind of the plot of the movie at the end. They always, it's a sign of true love can break, could warm the heart or whatever. It's, sign of true love or whatever. And in every Disney movie and everything like this, it's always a kiss, true love's kiss. So naturally, that's what Anna thinks, that's what Kristoff thinks, that's what the audience thinks. Like, oh, they're going to find Hans. It's like, oh, he's the surprise villain, which I'm glad Disney's getting away from that, because it's like, it seems like for a while, every Disney movie had a surprise villain, and it was getting exhausting. I'd spend the whole movie going, who's the surprise villain? And they don't really do that so much now. I don't know, but like I'm seeing it less and less. Let's put it that way. So like I'm sure it's still happening. It's just less common. But at the time, it was a plot twist. I was like, when he was like, if only someone loved you, and explained his thing. I'm like, oh, he was the bad guy? I thought Elsa was the bad guy. Literally, my first time seeing this, I thought Elsa was supposed to be the villain. More of an antagonist, because she didn't do it on purpose. Like, okay, I want to go back to the emotions of this movie. Especially, I kind of touched on it earlier, the ice castle scene between Anna and Elsa when they're singing instead of speaking. That is an intense scene too. Like when they're singing different things, and Elsa realizes, because she's thinking, I'm free, I'm here, I can be myself. And Anna's like, actually, Arendelle's in deep snow. You kind of triggered an eternal winter, which, by the way, how do you know it's eternal? It's only been a few hours. Anyway, Elsa like immediately is like, oh no, I should have known. It's too good to be true. And she kind of had a mental breakdown. And that's why she kind of accidentally got Anna in the heart with some ice. That was a magical version of a mental breakdown. Everything just keeps getting worse for Elsa, and I actually feel bad for her because she's trying, and she's doing what from the beginning, she's just doing what she thinks is right, and it just keeps getting worse for her. But then, when she lets go, when she stops fearing, then that's when things start to work out for her. I really want to look up and see if anyone's actually like and analyze this movie from like that perspective, because that's what I think every time I see this movie. I think of that. When I think of this movie, I think of that. I just love these characters, and I love that like they can, I guess because they're human, they've felt believable from the beginning. And like I said, I think the only thing about Frozen and Frozen 2 I don't like is Olaf. Which, don't take out the wrong way, I still like Olaf. Olaf is a great character, and he's funny, and he's positive, a good role model. I've already said that. But I don't think he fits here so much, because you got, and other than the magic powers that Elsa has, it's a somewhat realistic, believable story. It's a somewhat serious story. And then they had to throw in this comic relief for the kids. I don't like that. Now, if Olaf was toned down a little, maybe it would be fine. Like in Cars 3, Mater's barely in it. And when he's in it, he's not like he was in Cars 2. So they could have done that with Olaf. Like, he's still in the movie, just toned down and not as Olaf-y. But anyway, there's a lot more I could say. I think I will cover Frozen 2 at some point. Just not in this one. So you're probably I was gonna say you're probably wondering why I'm doing Frozen. You're probably not wondering that. It's a movie. This is a movie podcast, but there's a specific reason why I'm doing Frozen. So for October, I wanted to do a bunch of horror films at one a week, and I ended up only doing 2. They're basically my regularly scheduled episodes. They were just Halloween themed. For the holiday season, I want to do a Christmas movie every week in November and December. And I asked one of my friends, like, what should I do for my first one? And she immediately went, Home Alone. And I was like, no, that's heavy. That's heavy Christmas. I'm saving. I am planning on doing Home Alone, but I want to save that for closer to Christmas. I also don't want to do something cliche, which Home Alone's cliche. I said for November I want to do light Christmas movies, and she didn't know what I meant, and I didn't. I knew what I meant, but I didn't know how to give examples. I couldn't think of any examples. So later I was talking to another friend, and I was like, yeah, this is what happened with her and me, and they were like, Frozen, do Frozen, because it takes place in summer, but because of all the snow, a lot of people assume it's a winter movie, and some even call it like a Christmas movie, even though there is a Christmas special of Frozen. There's a lot of short films, a lot of them Olaf focused. All of them good. I like all of them. But this movie takes place in summer. They say several times, like, bring back summer. But the biggest giveaway that this takes place in summer is, woo, big summer blowout. If you haven't seen Frozen, first off, why haven't you seen Frozen? It's an honest question. Why haven't you seen Frozen? But if you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus, obviously. I don't know where else it would be. Frozen 2 is on Disney Plus. Everything Frozen is on Disney Plus. They even have all the like the short films. And when I was scrolling through, there's a Frozen I was gonna say tab, but it's not tab. Category on the when you select the Disney option, the Walt Disney tab. You know how there's like Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, all that. You click the Disney one and you scroll down, and there's a Frozen section, and there's Frozen 1 and 2, Frozen 1 and 2 sing along, and there's all the short films. There's a Frozen Lego short, and then a few other things, and I was just like surprised. It's like, wow, they really did a whole bunch of stuff with Frozen. And I honestly hope they make a third one. I know that's going to sound weird. I know people are like, oh no, please don't milk this franchise if they already are. And I was worried when they announced the second one, like I already said. But, you know, that one was so well and it ended in such a way that it's like, I want a third one. But I will get to that at a later date. And instead of just ending the episode like I normally do, here's the outro.